Today I'm going to share with you this book, Darwin, viaje al fin del mundo, and I'll also put the link to the book below. So this is a nonfiction book. However, it's informative. However, it reads like a narrative. So that is often the case in biographies. The themes of this book are about nature, animals, scientists. If you're not familiar with Charles Darwin's work, he is what many identify him as the great founder of evolution. A little bit controversy there, and we always know when we're talking about history that there are different perspectives. So I say this with a very general idea, I mean, if you want to debate it, we can, but I know that there's definitely nuances to it, and I want to recognize that. I'd strongly recommend that this book is good for Common Core Standard Informational Rung 4. If you're not familiar with the rungs, check out the work by Lucy Calkins around the Common Core book or something of that nature. She breaks books up into rungs. Usually most books should fit in rung 1 at grade level, summarizing, and then 10 at grade level, because all kids need to summarize to be able to understand and identify the main ideas. Unique about this book is it also fits with some next generation science standards. So it fits the cross-cutting concept of patterns and patterns observed, formed for classification. So we start classification with children at a very young age. My 4-year-old is doing classification with colors and different shapes and things like that. So Darwin's classification is very specific around species, but those are the fundamental concepts of it. Interestingly, in middle school, biological evolution, unity, and diversity is one of the standards. I would definitely encourage you to use this book at a middle school level. In terms of reading level, it could be upper 3rd grade, 4th, and lower 5th. So I'm going to do a picture walk. I'm going to show you a little bit about this book. One of the first things in the book that I want to point out to you that's really incredible is this book supports geographical understanding, both in terms of a physical map. So this is, you can't see very well, so no, you still can't see very well. But you can see you can see a little bit. You can see the boats in the water, and then you can also see the lines. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. The lines on the page. So if you open up this book, you can see actually the journey that this book is about. It's about Darwin's first journey on the ship, the Beagle. And so this is a really great example of contextualizing geography, making geography relevant to students, and we know that the more relevant it is, the more it sticks for them. So this is a great example of topographical geography. So like no, it's not topographical, it's physical. The places, names of countries, things like that, the physical. And then as you see throughout the story, it's gonna name the different places, and that can lead into understanding the physical geography of places. So one of the things that I talked about last week with Violeta Parra, and I didn't name it, and I wish I had, but we're always learning and evolving, right? But one of the things about books from Books del Sur is that they support cultural competency. So meaning that this book here, it starts off by introducing who the people are on the ship. And it identifies these people here as part of the indigenous group, and let me just say, the Fueguinos. They are the Native American group from the Tierra del Fuego. And I'm not going to say it's perfectly culturally competent in terms of honoring people's cultures and things of that nature, but it does introduce, and it does allow us an entry point into a conversation. As well as something that I just found fascinating was once Darwin gets on the boat and as he's going along on his journey, he, like me, it does not do well on the seas, and he actually vomits over the side of the boat and he's sick. This is an unusual illustration for books published in the United States. We don't often see a informational text showing someone vomiting, but this is an example of how in other countries and other places, they're going to talk about it, they're going to show it, and it's no big deal. So this is something too that I want to say is really great about authentic literature. It really increases our cultural competency and thinking about how people think differently, and that's okay. So something else, I mean, which I haven't really talked about at all, is the fact that this is the story of Darwin's first steps into identifying his theory of evolution, classification of species, and the fact that species are connected throughout time. Now I'm gonna go quickly showing you through the book. We're introduced to different people that were important in it. Sims Covington was contracted by him to assist him. And it talks about the different, the captain of the ship. And then here we are on their travels. We've arrived at a different place, and you can see in the bottom here, well, maybe you can't see, but it describes it. It's Chiloé, and it's Noviembre 18, 1834. This book is very Chilean centric, so it really does just kind of skip over Argentina, which an Argentinian was reading it and made that point to me, and I was like, yeah, clear. It's published by Chileans, so they're going to focus on that, as well as, unfortunately, it doesn't focus that much on the Galapagos, but there are other books that can do that, and that's just important for you to note as we're going to identify the perspective of the author, right? And so begins Darwin and Sims' discoveries of the different animals and starting to classify them and identify where they are from. So this is one of the first pictures of a diagram, scientific diagram. I mean, this isn't this isn't a scientific diagram that you'd see in a science book, but it's a really great start and example of it. And then there are more along the lines. Let me see what else I'm missing. Oh, so the other thing, sorry, that I wanted to point out was one of the things I talked about was the geography and understanding the physical. So because this identifies the place, you can make some observations about what is happening here. There's water here, there's hills, not mountains, where the other place had mountains. And also there's a point in the book where they encounter a terremoto, an earthquake. So I'm just going to fast forward. In the end of the story, Darwin goes back to England and he presents his idea to John Henslow, his idea of evolution, which is also interesting that they share it that way, because there is quite the controversy around John Henslow being the original theorist of evolution, and that's something that is a great discussion point, and perhaps your students can investigate and learn more about. So this is a biography, again, written in narrative form, and it shares the beginnings of Darwin's scientific journey. It ends with him publishing El origen de las especies, so the origins of species, which is one of his most famous works. So definitely historically significant in terms of a person. In the end, there is a glossary, so that also supports the informational text. Interesting illustration of native people. So also another great instructional point to discuss and share here. This again is Darwin, Un viaje al fin del mundo, and it is written in Spanish. And one of the reasons why we carry books that are written in Spanish by Spanish speakers is also to have a really strong language model. Spanish is not my first language, and so when I was teaching upper grades, it was really important for me to have books with a strong language model, because I was not it. That means it's a little bit scary for me sometimes to attack the text and read it, but that's what we got to do, and that's what teaching is all about. It's all about stretching ourselves and learning. So I'll put a link below to this book. My name is Heather Robertson Devine, owner and founder of Books Del Sur. Please comment below if you have any questions. Please reach out to us. We'd love to support you and get some high quality books in your schools, as well as we're always here to support teachers and education. Have a great day. I will see you next week, Monday.